So on today's Academy lesson, I'm going to go over a false riffle shuffle that's actually one of the first things your boy ever made up. Right here, this was my attempt to do an in the hands zero shuffle. Now the zero shuffle is a table-based false shuffle. Later in my foray into magic, I realized that this was more of an in the hands hunter shuffle. So this one is just my attempt to do that, bring it up to the hands, don't require a table. It is a messy shuffle, so it's not going to be something for everyone. However, you're going to see that the mechanics could be applied to a very, very nice triumph that I'm going to show you after I teach you this particular shuffle. So the shuffle itself looks like this. You're just able to take the cards, and apparently in the act of sloppily mixing them in, you've actually done the false shuffle. Now, again, this is not a false shuffle for everyone. It's a very sloppily done, almost Leonard Green style false shuffle. I've separated the cards between the black cards and the red cards just to kind of illustrate the fact that it is a false shuffle per se. But what I do like about it is, again, that messy aspect to it. One thing that I do enjoy is the fact that a magician like Leonard Green could definitely do highly technical and highly skilled maneuvers. However, he hides his sleight of hand per se in controlled chaos, such as moves like this. So let's go over the mechanics of the actual shuffle itself and how I like using it in a triumph routine. So for this, what we're going to do is we're going to have a heavier stock in the right hand. So the right hand, you're going to riffle off as if you're doing a riffle shuffle, but you're going to have more cards in the right hand. But you're going to start with the upper right corner of the left-handed cards and the upper left corner of the right-handed cards. I know it sounds harder than it is, but trust me, all you're doing is weaving the outer corners together to make a little bit of a V. So you're making a V towards the spectator. Now, first things first, you're going to let some cards riffle from your left hand. Then you're going to start riffling the cards until you get to the last chunk of cards from the right hand, which you want to leave a little bit of a sizable chunk in the right hand. So let's go over that one more time. All you're going to do is you're going to weave the cards at the upper corners. You're going to let some cards fall with the left hand. You're going to continue shuffling off. And just because of the nature of the fact that you have more cards in the right hand, what's going to happen is that you're going to have that chunk fall off anyways. But that's an important chunk because that's going to provide cover. Now, one thing that I like doing is I like just smearing the cards a little bit with my thumb as I shuffle, because I'm actually going to reposition the cards from this position to this position. Now, this is going to be a sort of right-handed mechanics grip. Now, the reason for this is because I'm going to actually shift the cards this way. Now, in shifting the cards this way, what's going to happen is that you're actually going to separate the cards. So the cards are being separated from the actual corner. But it's going to happen under the cover of these little chunky cards that we had in the beginning, and also the action of just bringing the cards from this V position to this upward interweaving position, supposedly. Now, what's going to happen is that you're going to use this cover card or these cover cards to act as if you are going back and forth with the cards. So you're going back and forth, apparently weaving them together and pushing the cards in. However, what's happened is actually nothing. The cards haven't changed the order at all. So let's go over that again. We have a sizable chunk with the right hand. We're going to let the left hand cards fall first. And then we're going to continue as normal until we get to the last half where we're dropping a sizable chunk with the right-handed half. You're going to be sloppy here with these cards. However, you're still going to try to grip these cards and keep at least the weave section as uniform as possible. Because when you actually bring the cards up from this V position to the straight position, that's actually going to separate the cards without the spectator being aware of it. So that's separating the cards. However, that's being covered by these last cards that you let fall. Now, what's going to happen again is that in moving to this position, I'm going to weave these cards together. Now, one thing I like doing is I like just touching these fingers. If I touch the pinky to the forefinger, I know that I'm going to have substantial cover from the front angle here. So it just seems like I'm just weaving these two halves into each other. So it's good to make it look sloppy, but again, it's important to be controlled the entire way through. So what this does is that it effectively mimics this sort of shuffle that you might see some people do, for example, with an overhand style where they apparently weave the cards together. The only difference being that the cards are actually being done from this sort of Hindu style position rather than the classic overhand style that I showed you previous, that sort of way. And you're using a riffle to kind of cover up that action even more. So it's a very, very disarming move, and it's one that I was very, very proud of when I first developed it. Now, what I do like again about it is that it adds a very nice sort of triumph routine that is very, very simple to do because all you're doing is just the false shuffle. So let's say we have the deck in new deck order. So the deck would be in new deck order here. We're going to have the cards picked by a spectator. Let's say they happen to pick this one over here, the 6 of clubs. You're going to square the cards up or retain a break above the 6 of clubs. Now this is actually going to be your starting point for where you separate the cards to apparently shuffle them together, because that's going to allow the deck to retain in new deck order. So you get a break above it. You could riffle to this position, or you could just separate the cards there and get them to this riffle shuffle position as if you're going to riffle shuffle the cards. However, these cards need to be turned face up. So you're going to turn the cards in your right hand face up. Now the way that I like to do it is I like to riffle up to the actual break itself, turn those cards in the left hand, and then in one continuous action, turn these cards also face up in the hand as well. So now I'm ready to shuffle these cards face up, apparently to face down. So we're going to go through the exact same mechanics. The only difference is going to come to the last card. So we're going to let these cards fall out of our left hand first. We're going to shuffle the cards normally. Now the only difference being here is that you want to hold one card back from the left-handed pile, which is going to be their card, in this case the 6 of clubs. Now you're going to let all the cards fall from the right hand, which is going to be that chunk, then their card in particular. Now what you're going to notice here is that this chunk of cards is going to provide a nice little bit of cover for the actual straightening out action and the weaving that we discussed before. So it's going to generally look like these cards are being shuffled face up into face down in a very haphazard fashion. However, we notice that all that's happened is we have the single cover card, which is their card, followed by the deck in the exact same order as before, with the cards face up, of course, and then the rest of the deck face down. Now, one thing I like doing after this particular shuffle is the Hindu shuffle that we discussed on the previous, one of the previous Academy lessons, which I'm going to leave linked below. So I like this particular move because it really does show face up and face down cards. Now, the next action here is you're going to lift up approximately less than half of the cards to show the cards the fact that they're face to back. You're going to cut deep into the deck and show the fact that they're back to face. And then lastly, you're going to let the cards fall at the natural break. So that's just simply done by leaving, just lifting up with the left thumb. The cards are going to fall back to back. And then this is the position where you're going to need to do a little bit of a secret move here, because you're going to need to turn these cards to a face up per se position. So right now the cards are face up, with the single card being the cover card. When you cut to the face down card here, the back to back, you're going to have to revolve these cards once on top of the deck. Now what that does is that brings all the cards to the exact same position, all apart from one card, which happens to be their card. Now the bonus here is that when you turn over the deck, all the cards are going to be in new deck order. So you could show the fact that, you know, even though we have all this chaos, there's some order from it. So it's a very, very nice sort of action. I almost killed myself there. So at speed, we have a card picked. That card gets apparently shuffled into the face-up deck here, which is going to mix the cards in a haphazard way. Of course, the cards are going face up, face down, every single which way. We have cards that are going face to back. We have cards that are going back to face. We even have cards that are going back to back. What a deadly situation until I do the fix move right there. See, snap your fingers, justifiably, and the cards fix themselves. Well, all apart from one card, which is weird because it's in the exact same, it would be in the new deck order. So that's a nice little bit of a chaotic sort of false shuffle. Again, it's not going to be for everyone. Some people prefer to have a little bit of a waterfall action when it comes to their false shuffles, but this is just one that was my first thing that I invented to myself. That was a move, and I was very, very proud of it. So some people might find some value in that. I hope you guys enjoyed this particular lesson, and I hope to see you on the next one.